My wife married me for my money. The first time I saw Vanessa, she was standing alone at a charity dinner, wearing a simple black dress and pretending not to notice that nearly every man in the room was watching her. I had attended the event because my company was one of the main sponsors, but I hated gatherings like that. People usually approached me because they knew my name, my business, or the size of my bank account. Vanessa seemed different. She did not rush toward me, flatter me, or ask what I did for a living. When we finally spoke, she laughed at my nervous jokes and told me she worked at a small interior design studio. For the first time in years, I felt like someone was interested in me instead of what I owned. My name is Daniel Carter, and by the age of 36, I had built a successful software company from the ground up. I was not born rich. My father repaired air conditioners, and my mother worked as a school secretary. I spent years sleeping in a tiny apartment, eating cheap noodles, and working 18-hour days. When my company finally became successful, everything changed. I bought a beautiful house, invested wisely, and helped my parents retire. But money also made relationships difficult. I could never tell whether people genuinely cared about me. Vanessa entered my life like an answer to a prayer. She remembered small details about me. She knew how I liked my coffee, which movies made me laugh, and how uncomfortable I felt at expensive parties. She never asked for gifts during the first few months. In fact, when I bought her a designer handbag for her birthday, she tried to return it. "You don't need to buy my love," she said, smiling. Those words stayed with me. I believed I had finally found someone real. We married 10 months after meeting. My friends thought it was fast, but I ignored them. My business partner, Ethan, was especially concerned. "You barely know her," he warned me. "At least sign a prenuptial agreement." When I mentioned a prenup to Vanessa, her eyes filled with tears. "Do you really think I'm marrying you for your money?" she asked. I felt terrible. I immediately apologized and dropped the subject. Looking back, that was the moment I should have listened to my instincts. Our wedding was elegant but not extravagant. Vanessa said she wanted something intimate, yet she slowly increased the guest list, upgraded the venue, and added expensive decorations. Every time the budget grew, she had a reasonable explanation. "It's the only wedding we'll ever have," she would say. I agreed because I wanted her to be happy. For the first year of our marriage, everything seemed perfect. Vanessa decorated our home, hosted dinner parties, and traveled with me whenever my schedule allowed. She often posted photographs of our life online, though I rarely used social media. She showed off our vacations, our house, and the jewelry I bought her. I assumed she was simply excited about being married. Then her behavior began to change. She stopped working at the design studio, claiming the job was stressful and underpaid. I supported her decision because we did not need her income. Soon, she began spending more time at luxury stores, expensive restaurants, and private clubs. Bills appeared for clothes she never wore and furniture we did not need. When I questioned her spending, she became defensive. "You make more money in a day than I spend in a month," she said. "Why are you acting like we're poor?" It was not the money that bothered me. It was her attitude. The woman who once refused a handbag now treated my bank account like an endless supply of cash. A few months later, Vanessa asked me to place her name on the deed to my house. I had purchased the property years before meeting her, so I told her I wanted to think about it. "We're married," she replied coldly. "What belongs to you should belong to me." Her words made me uncomfortable, but I tried to convince myself that she simply wanted security. The truth came out on a rainy Thursday evening. I had been scheduled to fly to Chicago for a business meeting, but the meeting was canceled at the last minute. I decided to return home without telling Vanessa. When I entered the house, I heard voices coming from the living room. Vanessa was speaking to someone on the phone, and she sounded angry. "You told me this would be easier," she said. "He still hasn't added me to the property, and most of his investments are protected through the company." I froze in the hallway. After a pause, she continued. No, I'm not leaving yet. I need to stay married long enough to make it worth it. Once I have access to more accounts, I'll file. My heart began pounding so loudly that I thought she might hear it. Then she laughed. Of course he loves me. That's why this works. I stood there, unable to move. The woman I had trusted completely was discussing our marriage like a business transaction. I quietly stepped outside before she noticed me. I sat in my car for almost an hour, staring through the windshield as rain covered the glass. Part of me wanted to storm inside and confront her. Another part wanted to believe I had misunderstood. But her words had been clear. The next morning, I contacted Ethan and told him everything. He did not say, I told you so. Instead, he gave me the name of a lawyer named Rachel Morgan. Rachel advised me not to confront Vanessa immediately. She explained that because I had entered the marriage without a prenup, I needed to document everything carefully. Fortunately, most of my major assets had been acquired before the marriage or were connected to business structures Vanessa could not easily touch. However, our joint accounts and anything purchased during the marriage could become part of a divorce dispute. Over the next 2 weeks, I pretended everything was normal. It was one of the hardest things I had ever done. Vanessa kissed me in the morning, called me my love, and asked about my day while secretly planning to take as much as possible. I reviewed bank statements and discovered that she had transferred nearly $80,000 from our joint account into an account I did not recognize. She had also purchased expensive jewelry and hidden it in a storage unit. Rachel hired a financial investigator, who discovered something even worse. Vanessa had been communicating with her former boyfriend, Lucas, throughout our marriage. The investigator recovered messages from a shared tablet Vanessa had forgotten to disconnect from her account. In those messages, she told Lucas that she planned to divorce me after securing enough money for them to start a new life together. One message read, Daniel is kind but completely blind. Just be patient. Seeing those words hurt more than losing any amount of money. I had defended her to everyone. I had trusted her when people warned me. I had believed every smile, every promise, and every I love you. With Rachel's help, I moved the remaining money from our joint account into a protected account, leaving enough to cover household expenses. I also canceled the supplementary credit cards Vanessa used. Then I arranged for the final confrontation. I invited Vanessa to dinner at home. She arrived wearing a new diamond bracelet she had purchased with my money. During dinner, she talked excitedly about buying a vacation home near the beach. I think we should put it in both our names, she said. I placed a folder on the table. Her smile disappeared. What's that? She asked. Divorce papers. For several seconds, she said nothing. Then she laughed nervously. Is this some kind of joke? I opened the folder and spread copies of the bank transfers, storage unit records, and messages between her and Lucas across the table. Her face turned pale. Daniel, I can explain. Explain which part? I asked. The stolen money, the secret boyfriend, or the plan to divorce me once you had enough? She began crying, but the tears no longer affected me. I was confused, she said. Lucas manipulated me. I do love you. You said I was kind but blind. I didn't mean it. You meant every word. Her sadness quickly turned into anger. You can't just leave me with nothing, she snapped. I gave up my career for this marriage. You quit your job because you thought you had found an easier source of income. She stood up and pointed at me. You'll regret humiliating me. No, I replied calmly. I regret trusting you. The divorce became ugly. Vanessa demanded half of everything, but the evidence of hidden assets, unauthorized transfers, and financial misconduct damaged her case. She was ordered to return most of the money she had moved and disclose the jewelry she had hidden. She received a settlement, but it was far smaller than the fortune she had expected. Lucas disappeared as soon as he realized Vanessa would not become wealthy from the divorce. According to the investigator, he stopped answering her calls before the case was even finalized. 6 months later, I saw Vanessa outside the courthouse after our final hearing. She looked exhausted and much older than when we had met. Was any of it real? I asked her. She looked at the ground. At first, I liked you, she said quietly. But then I saw the life you could give me. That isn't love. I know. For the first time, I believed she was being honest. I walked away without another word. The experience changed me. For a long time, I blamed myself for being foolish. But eventually, I understood that trusting someone is not a weakness. Deceiving someone who trusts you is the weakness. I still believe in love, but I no longer ignore warning signs to prove that my feelings are real. Love should not require blindness. It should survive honest questions, clear boundaries, and difficult conversations. Vanessa married me for my money, but in the end, she lost the comfortable life she had tried to steal. I lost a marriage, but I gained something more valuable than money. I learned the truth before it cost me everything.